So the first one most voted for so far is a pretty cool question. Can science explain the spiritual?
There's a couple of ways to take that. So first of all, can science ever replace God is a question. And I would say the answer to that is no. The reason for that is when you really properly understand a worldview without God in it, like naturalism, what it's trying to say is not that science has replaced God, but it's trying to say that the explanation that God is supposed to provide is one we don't need anymore. That's what it's trying to say. So it's not, in that case, any sort of result of science that brings you to that conclusion, because it doesn't rest on science at all. It's trying to say, actually, that whole, we need an ultimate reality, we need a creator of the universe, we need a reason why there is something rather than nothing, we need an ultimate cause, we need a designer of the universe. Actually, what it's trying to say is, what the atheist is trying to say, the naturalist in particular, is trying to say, we don't need that. But then you have to just leave all of those questions unanswered. So it's not a question of future science will discover why there's something rather than nothing. It's you have to try to convince yourself really hard that you didn't actually ever want an answer to that question. And you have to just try really hard not to want to know why anything exists at all.
Yeah.
There are some atheists, scientists who don't get this, so Lawrence Krauss will be one of them, if you know that name.
Yeah.
There are some who do, who are sort of just understand the philosophy a bit better. So Sean Carroll would be one of those, who just understands that that's what he's committing himself to and tries to defend it.
Right.
So there's that sense. Can science replace God? No, even if naturalism were true, it wouldn't replace God. It's just trying to say that was never needed, rather than that we have something else that fills that place.
Yeah.
In terms of the spiritual, there's another way that might be met, which is, the thought that people need a spiritual aspect to their lives and that they could replace this with science. It's kind of fascinating how much when there was an attempt in the UK, and I don't know if it's still running, but people who were atheists, who weren't believers, who didn't want to go to church, still wanted to do something like that sort of community on a Sunday morning. So they tried to run these atheist churches where they got together and sung Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen and had readings from a favourite science book and had a talk about something. And it's just kind of fascinating that wanting something deeper, wanting community with other people, wanting answers to the big question is not something that goes away. And so it's not science trying to explain it. So the people who don't have something bigger than the universe try to do it with stuff in the universe.
Yeah.
And in that case, that's science trying to replace the supernatural, I guess, in people's lives. And my understanding is they were never particularly successful.
Yeah. So you'd say that science hasn't really been able to explain the spiritual just in and of itself?
It's the wrong tool.
Yeah.
It's like saying, will a magnet ever be able to pick up a piece of wood? That's the wrong thing.
Yeah.
If science can't find the spiritual, the genuinely spiritual in the sense of the supernatural, because science isn't supposed to find it. It's a tool designed to study the natural world.
Yeah.
A magnet picks up, metal, iron.
Yeah.
If it doesn't pick up wood, that's not.
Yeah.
You've just chosen the wrong tool. So if there were a spiritual realm out there, a supernatural, then we wouldn't expect science to find it. We might see some places where a scientific explanation of something seems a bit unlikely and forced.
Yeah.
But it's not the case that you're just if you're trying to explain the spiritual with science, you're almost using the wrong tool there.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Hence why I think I heard someone say, well, hence why it's supernatural. Like science will work with the natural kind of matter of the universe, whereas the spiritual is kind of outside of it in some sense.